This show is made possible by Affiliates Shark and with the support of the Cat Apps Partner Program. Well, hello my friends, J Todd here, back after a week off for the Thanksgiving holiday, and now I only have 3 shows left until I'm off for Christmas and the rest of the year. And after I come back in January, I only have 4 shows until it will be time for the ICE and IGB affiliate shows in London. So, does that mean that I will be traveling to the United Kingdom? Maybe we're just gonna have to wait and see what this latest and greatest COVID variant out of Africa does. And speaking of the UK and infectious viruses, we're still waiting for British politicians to wrap up their review of the Gambling Act. And as we wait, we occasionally get a glimpse into the minds of those holding our future in their hands. And many times, what we see in that glimpse is more akin to an inquisition rather than an actual review. Take, for example, the observations of a senior writer for the Racing Post who follow horse racing and sports betting from their offices in London. The author notes what he calls hysteria over gambling in Britain, much of which he correlates to the growth of online gambling, noting a recent session in the House of Lords, where one of the lords, a former justice of the Supreme Court, plainly said that gambling was, quote, a cancer on our society. Another spoke out and called gambling, quote, one of society's major ills, and added that gambling has caused, quote, untold misery and distress to countless families across Britain. Well, at least they're keeping an open mind. The author at the Racing Post went on to correctly note that soon, perhaps more soon than any of us realize, the UK will be so caught up in affordability checks that placing a simple bet will become as uncomfortable as a rectal exam. Okay, I added the part about the rectal exam, but I think we all know it was implied. And the point is, if these political overlords, pun intended, if they have their way, gambling will soon be treated like tobacco and alcohol, or probably even worse and more regulated. And if someone wants to bet, just place a simple bet, they may have to bend over and submit to financial and perhaps even mental oversight from their government. Chew on that for a minute. I've linked to that article below this video. Before proceeding into the second half of this program, I wanted to mention that the APCW has published another interview last week speaking with Maria from Affiliates Shark, we discuss their program, their brands, their markets, and their generous commission structure. And you can find that video on our YouTube channel, the APCW website, and in the forums at gpwa.org. Now, getting back to the shitstorm of UK politics and the Gambling Act review, while researching this show, I just happened upon this little gem of an article here, published back in late September, in which Public Health England reports that gambling harm costs British society nearly £1.3 billion a year. And of course, they correlated gambling to drinking and mental health issues just to be sure that they justified themselves to their governmental overlords. Now this is funny, since public health was then shut down on October 1st. In this article, they also failed to explain just how gambling related to mental health and alcohol consumption. What I mean is gambling the underlying cause of all evils in the world? Or are people who drink more likely to gamble? Or are people with mental health issues more likely to place a bet? But that was not their goal, to be clear and transparent. No, their goal was to label gambling a political health issue, which they did. So obviously, it's much better to leave these facts as ambiguous as possible. And by doing so, well, then agendas can be carried out. Funds can be diverted to wherever you want. And Orwellian regulations can be implemented on society, all while everyone is distracted by the problems of gambling and the government is applauded. Most of these problems with gambling appear to be concocted by the government themselves, so that they can get what they want. At any rate, I'm thinking that's a wrap on this show. But I'm like a fungus, my friends. I'll be back next week, God willing. And speaking of the UK and infectious viruses, we're still waiting for the it's right there in the script. All I have to do is read it.